Good morning, everyone that's here. Let's see. Good morning, Elaine. Yes, hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. Thank you for the well wishes. Let's see. Anybody else here? Let's see. Oh, it says that there are 10 other people watching, so whoever you are, I hope that you are also staying safe and healthy. Oh, good morning, Trish. Ohayou gozaimasu. Oh, good morning, Leslie. Good morning, Diane. I already said good morning to you earlier, but good morning. And you're saying good morning to everyone else, so that's great. Let's see. I guess we can begin. Shall we begin? Let me offer incense on behalf of everyone. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I want to thank my wife for the lovely flower arrangement that she did in the Obutsudan here. Yes, this is Higashi Honganji Buddhist Temple's Sunday service for December 20th. I'm Reverend Peter Hata. This is, I guess, this is our first ever service on December 20th, or on this third Sunday of December, because usually, as all of you know, or those of you that are temple members know, usually we're at the temple, cleaning the temple. Right now we'd be, cleaning the kitchen, which is a tremendous job in and of itself. The social hall, everything in the social hall, the foyer, the upstairs, the hondo, and the ministers usually clean the naijin, the altar. So it's a tremendous effort, but we usually get many people to help, so it actually goes relatively quickly. But because of the surging of the pandemic right now, the temple is obviously still closed, and so we decided to we decided to have a Sunday service on the third Sunday of the month instead of the temple cleanup. And so this is hopefully, I guess, probably the last time we'll have a service on this day in the month. So, but at least we're still able to gather together virtually today. So, thank you very much for joining us today. Speaking of gathering together, later in my talk, I wanted to speak a little bit more about the important theme of interdependence and interconnectedness, which is actually at the heart of the opening gatha for today, which is "I'm a link in the golden chain." So I'd like to start with that would be later. So let's start with the ritual portion of the service. And I think I saw on the Facebook page it says there's a link to download the ritual materials, and I think it includes the Shoshinge. But because this is technically a family service, we're going to chant the Tambutsuge. So I think I put a link on the Facebook page right below this live stream, link to the Tambutsuge. If you want to download it, you can click the link, and then it'll come up on your screen, and then you can chant along with me. Let's see. Okay, so I want to begin with the opening gatha, "I'm a link in the golden chain." And if you have your service book, it's on page 119. Today I'm not going to show the the lead sheet for it, I'm going to share with you a video, which is I think you'll enjoy watching. So please rise if you're able to for the Gatha, I'm a link in the golden chain. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. Here we go. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa buddham saranam gacchami dhammam saranam gacchami sangham saranam gacchami. Difficult is it to receive life in human form, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma, now we hear it. If we do not receive awakening in the present life, then in what life can we hope to receive it? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we, together as one, begin on the great path of enlightenment, holding in our hearts the supreme aspiration. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we, together as one, enter the storehouse of the Dharma and attain true wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we, together as one, uniting in harmony, strive to live for the enlightenment of all beings. The incomparable, deep, and profound Dharma is difficult to encounter, even through countless ages of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us endeavor to thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Buddha Dharma. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Let's see. And now we will have chanting of the Tambutsuge. 高原義義異人無国尿税遠妙無用当社日月間に修行遠慮開出音平有脈十目如来予言調整無臨小学大音コル実法開門精進三昧知恵意徳無量修正慶右人体前年勝負崩壊愚人人の空語外定無明欲ぬ生存用無人の死死人徳無量空君古代知恵人妙光明意祖神道大仙願がサブ最小法可動所持未不下打不正常意解任精進要税三昧知恵異常合成特部不行志願一切空空一切大安慶死有部百千億万無量大小修行語者供養一切死と勝負不尿具道検証不客非尿語者不世界不不可け無種節道光明師匠変師小国尿税精進異人難路量がサブ国土第一号宗奇妙道場徴税国尿内音任務闘争ガト愛民道だ一切実法来所心霊症状人が国経絡安穏公部神妙税が心象発願王非力少々欲実法生存知恵無下上量子孫知が心行軽量心死食毒中画行精進忍辱不見ナマダブナマダブナマダブナマダブナマダブナマダブ願に宿毒平等正妻同法菩提心法上安 hope you were able to chant with us the Tambutsege. Before I go on, I'd like to, a couple of things. First of all, I forgot to mention earlier that after my English Dharma talk, there will be a Japanese Dharma talk. Yuko-san, if you stay tuned, after at the end of the service, we'll have a Japanese Dharma talk by Rinban Ito. But before I get into my English Dharma talk, I wanted to do a shout out for the birthdays for December. So this is technically a family service. So I would like to wish a happy birthday to our December birthdays: Helen Yasuda, Janet Ito, Wayne Itoga, Byron Yamada. Congratulations, Byron, on your new baby boy, and Greg Elliott. And then I'm not sure if we actually read the November birthdays. I don't recall hearing them being read, but if we didn't, then let me mention them right now. A very belated, but hopefully still happy birthday to you November birthday people. That would be Tom Fukuman, Katie Kamimura, Emily Matsumura, Irene Ota, Mika Ito. Congratulations to you, Mika. Also, Ted Shimizu, Cindy Toyoshima, Hiro Kanemaru, and Eddie Kanemaru. So, yeah, happy birthday to all of you. Well, as for my Dharma talk, as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to discuss the theme of, interdependence or interconnectedness, which is, of course, a very central Buddhist teaching. But before I do, let me briefly discuss that Gatha video that we saw. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This Gatha video was the Gatha, I'm a link in the golden chain. So I think it really is a really good introduction to our theme today of interconnectedness or interdependence. So that video was the brainchild of Reverend Ken Kawata, my teacher at West Covina Buddhist Temple. And this was back in 2011 when he was still the minister at West Covina Buddhist Temple, as most of you know. Now he's bishop of the Hawaii district. But that song itself, I'm a link in the golden chain, was another interesting point. It was written by a musician named Gordon Atai. Currently, Gordon is the president of the Fresno Betsuin Temple of the BCA. And, interestingly, I once had the pleasure of participating with Gordon in a Buddhism and music seminar at the Fresno Betsuin. And, he's a very talented musician and obviously a really wonderful composer for composing that wonderful Gatha. And the singers, as you saw in the opening credit there, that the singers are, of course, the four sanghas of Higashi's North America district. And, last but not least, the musicians were members of West Covina Buddhist Temple's Bodhi Tree Band. I was the musical director of the band back then, and I want to give a shout out to Matt Ormseth, Leo and Noah Kowalski, and Sean Underwood. I don't think they're here listening, but really, it was a really wonderful experience working with those young musicians. And as I mentioned, this video was produced back in 2011. So this was pre-COVID-19, pre-Zoom, and we were as a sangha, we were all gathered together and and singing together, which is, of course, I think probably most of you would agree, it's something we really miss, gathering together like that. So those were the days, right? One other point about this video I wanted to mention, and it's also something that's related to our theme of interconnectedness, is that I think those of you that have been active in the temple since 2011, you probably recognize the number of people in the video that have since passed on and are no longer with us. But even though they're no longer physically with us, in our Pure Land tradition, we say that as long as we remember them, as long as we remember them, they in a sense continue to live on in our hearts and minds, right? And so I think this is another example of our interconnectedness. In a sense, I think we can say that our connections with our friends and loved ones, sort of transcend the boundaries, of time, the interconnectedness that we share with our loved ones and friends. But in this gatha, I'm a link in the golden chain. One of the things that the lyrics, highlight is, I think what I would say is it's our personal role in helping to manifest this awareness of our interconnection. Excuse me. In other words, I myself am a crucial link in the golden chain. So as the lyrics state, the first two verses say, I'm a link in the golden chain. Harmony may we all attain. Gentle to all living things will unite us all as golden rings. I'm a link in the golden chain. Gratitude may we all attain. Bright and strong, my link will grow. Through pure and loving deeds I know. And then, of course, the song also emphasizes the golden chain itself. This interlinked. Visualize a interlinked chain, a golden chain, stretching around the world, so to speak, interlinking all life. And so this golden chain, this metaphor of the golden chain is really expressing the essential Buddhist teaching of the interconnectedness of all life. But I think, I want to sort of emphasize the words, I'm a link, I am a link, because they clarify that only when, I myself realize this truth of our interconnectedness, then only when I realize that truth can I truly function as a link in the chain. Otherwise, I'm not a link in the chain. And so that's why, we might remember from our, I'm not sure if I have it here. I don't have it on my computer here, but you might remember that back in the day, we used to recite the original Golden Chain Pledge, right? And I think the first line in that pledge that we used to recite says, I'm a link in the Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. Do you remember that? I'm not sure why we don't recite it anymore, but I remember back at West Covina, certainly the Dharma school always used to recite it. And I think they still do recite it at the Berkeley Higashi Honganji Temple. But, irregardless, in the gatha that we sang, the first line also says, I'm a link in the golden chain, that emphasizes, my role in creating that chain. And so, I think we could say that the golden chain is only made bright and strong if my own link is bright and strong. If, I myself have the insight and then act out of an awareness of the interdependence of all life. So actually, one of the most memorable places, I think, where we find really strong support for this teaching of interconnection, interdependence is actually found in one of the in the key sutra of our Pure Land tradition, which is the larger sutra. And this sutra, tells the story of Bodhisattva Dharmakara. This is the Bodhisattva who, through a very inspired practice, becomes Amida Buddha. The Buddha on our altar. This is the Buddha who presides over the Pure Land. The Pure Land is the land of the realm of enlightenment itself, right? And in one section of the largest sutra, we note that Dharmakara has himself encountered a great Buddha who becomes his teacher. And because of this encounter with this great Buddha, he himself commits to becoming a Buddha and to creating the conditions that will allow all beings to become enlightened. He makes vows to create the Pure Land, this realm of enlightenment. And so at this point in the story, in the largest sutra, he begins to create his bodhisattva vows, these bodhisattva vows. And so a bodhisattva's vow is nothing like the New Year's resolutions that we make. I mean, have you made resolutions like, every December I make a resolution that in the coming year I'm going to lose weight, which is you're probably laughing right now, and it is a joke. So a bodhisattva's vows are not like this sort of half-hearted wishful thinking. They're actually unbreakable promises. They're unbreakable promises that the bodhisattva makes. And not only that, but each of these vows states that they will not truly be fulfilled unless they're fulfilled for all beings everywhere. And so on that note, I was going to say that I'll always fondly remember the late Pure Land scholar, Dr. Luis Gomez, who once came and spoke at the Betsuin. I remember him expressing a sort of tongue-in-cheek warning to all of us Pure Land Buddhists that we should, think twice. We should think twice about being a Pure Land Buddhist. Why? Because now, as a Pure Land Buddhist, as a Mahayana Buddhist, instead of just working to achieve, our own personal enlightenment, achieving our own personal enlightenment is hard enough, right? But now, as a Pure Land, as a Mahayana Buddhist, we have to work for the enlightenment of all beings. So he warned us with a slight smirk on his face about being a Pure Land Buddhist. But in the largest sutra, there are these certain vows actually that I think clarify why the Pure Land is the realm of enlightenment is actually all inclusive. It's all inclusive. And I think it's because, from an enlightened view, from the view of an awakened being, an enlightened being, all beings are equally appreciated. So the Bodhisattva's vows, they transcend, and this is really hard to kind of wrap our head around, but they transcend all discriminatory, all judgmental, all dualistic, and all unawake thinking. And so obviously, even though the largest sutra was composed some 2,000 years ago, this emphasis that it has on sort of absolute inclusivity has great contemporary socio-political relevance, obviously. And one of these vows, to give you an example, one of these vows is the third vow of the largest sutra. The third vow says, this is the vow of Bodhisattva Dharmakara. If, when I attain Buddhahood, humans and devas in my land should not all be the color of pure gold, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. Let me repeat that. If, when I attain Buddhahood, humans and devas in my land should not all be the color of pure gold, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. So in other words, Dharmakara is vowing that, either everyone becomes gold in color, or his vow to bring all beings to enlightenment will not be fulfilled. And of course, this doesn't, literally mean that beings become golden, but that they, gold itself, are appreciated as being extremely precious. And so the word gold, like the image of the golden chain that we can imagine, this word gold is really describing the same awakened acknowledgement, of the preciousness and interconnectedness of all life. So this third vow is essentially stating that for a Buddha, regardless of one's ethnicity, regardless of one's gender, regardless of one's sexual orientation and so forth, everyone has the same potential for Buddhahood. And so this vow is expressing the enlightened view that all life is precious and beautiful. Regardless of appearance, all life is precious and beautiful. in the largest sutra, there's no discrimination against anyone on the path to the Pure Land, to the goal of attaining enlightenment. And to have this kind of view is, from the standpoint of Buddhism, it actually means to be awakened, to appreciate people just as they are. It's to see all sentient beings as being interconnected within the constant flow of life. And because all beings are interconnected within the constant flow of life, it's essentially to see all beings as part of one interconnected life. But, realistically, of course, in order for this ideal of interconnection and interdependence to actually become, manifest in our everyday, socio-political world, in other words, the world of samsara, right? This is not, an easy thing, of course. I think we'd say, though, in Buddhism that, in order to actually realize this vision, because we're all links in the golden chain, and because each link is equally important, each of us must realize this truth for ourselves. We must gain insight into the fact that each of us are indeed part of one interlinked chain of life, part of, or each, causing or experiencing, the myriad causes and conditions that are actually supporting all of us. And I think I mentioned earlier that the golden chain is a golden chain, a bright chain, and it only if my own link is bright, only if my own link is strong, only if I act from an awareness of my interconnectedness with all other life. So, you might be wondering, well, excuse me, I have a little bit of a congestion. You might be wondering, how can we truly realize, this really, obviously, seemingly, anyway, very lofty goal? How can we ourselves awaken to this truth of our interconnectedness with all life? Well, this is a very, very difficult question. It's a very deep issue, I think, in Buddhism. Usually in Buddhism, I think particularly I think in all traditions of Buddhism, it's referred to as the path or the way, right? The way, in Japanese, the michi, the way of the seeker, And so many volumes have been written about this, about the details, if you will, of this path of the seeker towards awakening. But I think I could put it simply, I could say that, I think we could say that, if we examine the lives of the great teachers, great Buddhist teachers, like, for instance, from Shakyamuni Buddha, if we examine all the great teachers, I think we see time and time again that one of the keys to their awakening was their encounter with another of the central teachings of Buddhism, which is the teaching of impermanence. With the powerful reality of constant change, with the experiencing of difficult causes and conditions, and this encounter with impermanence is something. It's a great power that challenged them, and ultimately, as we can see in their life, transformed them. In Shakyamuni's case, as we all know, was his encounters with aging, illness, and death, in the famous story of the Four Gates. But, so therefore, I would argue that today, aren't we encountering the same truth of impermanence? This the same reality that Shakyamuni encountered 2,500 years ago. I mean, earlier this year, we all witnessed the widespread and, very, compelling protests for social justice, right? Then we witnessed, what was probably the most divisive presidential election, ever. And then for some time now, we've been seeing the urgency of addressing the ongoing challenge of climate change. 2 weeks ago in my talk, I spoke about the science of climate change, and that's an issue that is of increasingly urgent, importance. And then, even as we've recently heard, we've all recently heard the good news that vaccines, coronavirus, COVID-19 vaccines are on the way, but still we're experiencing what I believe is the third surge and the most serious surge so far of the coronavirus pandemic. And so I would say that aren't all of these experiences in a very real sense the same powerful truth that Shakyamuni encountered, and that isn't it also true that like him, aren't we being made to become more deeply aware of the fragility and the preciousness of life, and therefore of our interconnectedness with all other lives? I think this is so, and but at the same time, I think we can be very grateful to in light of these very difficult encounters that we have with impermanence. I think we can be very grateful to have the guidance of the Buddha's teachings, because with this guidance we have the potential to see these difficulties in life as ultimately like an opportunity. These difficulties give us an opportunity to see ourselves as it really is, and how is ourself actually really? What is ourself really? Ultimately, I think we see that we're not as independent as we thought we were. We're actually interdependent and interconnected with all life, and when we accept this truth, the Buddha taught, and I think it's true, that there is a positive realization from that acceptance that it's not only our own lives, but actually all life that's subject to the same truth, that all life is actually precious, all life is interconnected. And so in closing, I think the song I'm a Link in the Golden Chain expresses this precious gift of the Buddha Dharma, and this gift, this truth, is, I would say, all the more precious as we, as each of us, struggles to stay safe and keep each other safe in this ongoing pandemic, and of course, always try and be of assistance to others when we can. And so my hope is that, together we can listen to the Buddha's teachings and work together to make this realization of the interconnectedness of life, accessible to all people, to everyone. I would say in this way, as the song I'm a Link in the Golden Chain encourages us to do, in this way we can make our link bright and strong, and our link, our individual link, however small, can join with other links and contribute towards making the world a better and happier place for everyone. And so that's my wish, well, not just for December, but hopefully for all of 2021 too. So thank you very much for listening. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, Trish says she remembers reciting it every Sunday. Yes, I do too. Yeah, maybe we should bring it back at least occasionally. But yeah, so just very brief announcements. I've actually already mentioned the ongoing issue of the COVID-19, and just to bring forward the obvious, which is that the incidence of infectious cases in Los Angeles County is I think it's I don't know, in just a matter of a couple of weeks or something, it looks like it's sort of well, it's maybe more than 5 or 6 times greater. And so, multiple factors are in play. According to the experts, multiple factors are in play here. What's called COVID-19 fatigue, which I think we're all, suffering from, and to some degree. And so these when you bring more than one family together, one household together, that's how the virus is spreading, according to experts. There's also a large number of essential workers, that are exposed at a higher level of risk. Not just healthcare workers, but also grocery stores and stuff like that. So that's also part of this. And then one of the sad truth of socioeconomic truth is that the pandemic seems to be affecting poor communities and minority households greater, because they're the households that where the main income provider cannot work from home, so has to go out in the workplace. And so there's a lot of factors at play here. It's again this idea of the interconnectedness of our lives, but especially around the holidays now, according to all the medical experts that I've heard, we have to all do our part to try and avoid mixing households as much as we can, because this is how the virus spreads. So just to keep that in mind, and I think that if we keep that in mind, then we are in fact honoring the Buddha's teaching of impermanence and interdependence. Well, let's see. So this is the last service, the last regular service for the year, but we do have a couple of services coming up. One is the Joya New Year's Eve service on December 31st. Have you ever wondered what Joya actually means? I actually saw a short article by Reverend Nakata, speaking of the Fresno Betsuin. So Reverend Nakata used to be at the Los Angeles Betsuin, Nishi Honganji Los Angeles Betsuin. Now he's at the Fresno Betsuin. But I saw an article where he explained that Joya Jo means reset, wipe out, or clean up. And Ya means night, and means gathering. So Joya means something like, let us try to wipe 2020 from our memory and move on to 2021 with our hearts and minds refreshed. So I thought that was really very apropos for given the difficulties we've experienced in 2020. And so I think we can all look forward to our Joya service December 31st at 6 o'clock, and it will be live streamed on Facebook. And then also the following day, the New Year's Day service, we will have on January 1st. That'll also be live streamed. And I think we can all, look forward to, really a happy New Year. So meanwhile, happy holidays, stay safe, and hope to see you all for those two services. So let's end the English portion of our service with Ondok-san 2, and then, of course, those of you that can, please stay tuned for Rinban Ito's Japanese talk following Ondok-san 2. But let's sing Ondok-san 2 together. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us, and please enjoy Japanese Dharma talk by Rinban Noriaki Ito. Thank you.
皆様、おはようございます。今日の日曜礼拝に、ご一緒にお勤めをしていただきまして、本当にありがとうございます。今日は12月の第3日曜日でありまして、去年までは、第3日曜日は礼拝がなくて、別院の大掃除を行いまして、皆様に来ていただいて、年末までにお寺をきれいにしていただくっていう、そういうことであります。今年は3月からずっともうお寺はほとんど閉鎖しておりまして、この大掃除もできない、また必要ないかもしれない、そういう状況であります。これが最後の日曜礼拝になりますので、ちょっとした挨拶と法話をさせていただきたいと思います。本当に考えてみますと、この2020年は本当に大変な年でありました。えーワクチンができたので、来年早々には私たちもそのワクチンをいただくことができて、その心配が少なくなるかと思います。本当に考えてみますと、こういう年っていうのはあ私たちも一遍も、体験したことはないので、ほとんど家に、閉じ込められたり、家族とまたは友人と一緒になれない、レストランで食べられない、そういうような不安と感染される心配、または孤独感を感じる私たちであります。えー今考えますと、またそのピーク、サージっていいますか、感染者が多くて、一番カリフォルニアには一番多くて、死亡者も、もう全米で32万人、がこの1年間の間に、COVID で、亡くなっておられます。そういうようなことで、ほとんど、私たちは、元気、に過ごすことができておりますんですけども、やはりその精神的なストレスとか、またそういう孤独感とかで、悩んでおります。大昔にはその仏教が広まっていく頃に、多くのそのお釈迦様、お釈迦様をはじめとして、他のその法話に出てくる、仏様の絵とかまたは彫刻ができて、ほとんどの、ほとんどっていうか多くの場合は、その瞑想している座っている姿の仏様を描いたりしております。で、その阿弥陀如来のように立っている仏様もありまして、ひとあのああ私がよく昔見たのは、薬師如来っていうその仏様があります。で、薬師っていうのは薬の先生っていうふうに書きまして、薬を与える、仏様っていうそういうようなことなんです。で、その小さな器を持って、で、その中に薬が入っているということなんです。キリスト教とかの他の宗教では、例えばイエス・キリストが例えば病気で、その病気で悩んでいる人を治すことができたり、触って治すとか、そういうようなことは他の宗教にはありますんですけども、仏教ではそういうその肉体的な病気をお釈迦様が治したとかいうようなことはそういう話はないと思うんですけども、でもやっぱりその精神的な病、心理的な病を治すこと ができるということで、その教えを私たちが聞いて、仏道を歩んでいけば、そういうような病が治るというようなことで、薬師如来という姿が現れているかと思います。そのお釈迦様は私たちに何を、えー教えてくださるかということは、私たちは大体一般的には自己中心的な生き方をしていると、自分が元気であればいいとか、家族が元気であればいいとかというような受け止めで、生きていると。しかしそのお釈迦様は自分のことよりも、なんていうんですか、一緒になっている人々のことを、心配されたり、元気でいてほしいというそういう、気持ちが多くて、そういうそのお釈迦様の、姿を私たちが今でも、いただくことができると思います。そのお釈迦様の薬っていうと、やはりその教えであり、またはその仏道を与えてくださる、そういうことで、私たちのそういう特に精神的な、また心理的な病を、治すことができるということなんです。私たちここの南カリフォルニアにとか、アメリカに住んでいる、私たちは、まだその、このコロナウイルス、COVID-19 の病気を、多分その全部なくしちゃうということはかなり時間がかかると思いますので、私たち全員がそのワクチンをいただくことができれば、また前の生活に戻ることができるかもしれないということで、来年を私たちが何て言うんですかね、お迎えをして、そういう普通の生活に戻れるように頑張りたいと思います。一つなんて言いますか、いろんなことを考えていますんですけども、最近また考えていたのは、ある日本に生きておられた人の話です。でこの方は井村和清っていう人で、お医者さんであったんです。で彼は子供の頃から、医者になりたいっていうその願いがあって、でその一生懸命勉強して、それでそのお医者さんになれたんです。でその最初は自分の里の近くだったかもしれないんですけども、小さな町で、その唯一のお医者さん、になったんです。でもう毎日のように、人を訪ねたり、困っている人の病気を薬で治したり、アドバイスを与えたり、することをもう毎日のように、頑張ってやっておりまして、でその町の住民も本当にもう井村先生、井村先生と喜んでおられたそうなんです。で彼は元気だずっと元気だったんですけども、30代になってから、結局は彼ががんの病気を、持つことになって、でそれであんまり、自分はなんていうんですか、町の人たち、患者の人たちの病気を治そうと一生懸命していて、自分のことをあんまり考えなかったんです。そしたら、やはりそのなんか病気だなっていうふうに感じて、それで、他のドクター、病院に入院して他のドクターに見てもらったんです。 そしたら、やはりがんであるということで、まだ30早々ですから、非常に早いペースで体中広がったんです。で、いずれは足両方とも切断しなければならないことになって、それで30の半ばあたりで、お亡くなりになったんです。ですけど彼は幸いその仏教に出会うことができて、若い頃から、聞いてたかもしれないんですけども、とにかく仏法が力になって、えーその最後のまああのある程度の期間仏教を学んで、生きておられたということなんです。で一つなんて言いますかね、その日記を書いたり、または詩も書かれたんです。で一番有名な詩が当たり前っていう詩で、これが彼の遺言になられたそうなんです。こういう詩であります。当たり前、こんな素晴らしいことをみんなはなぜ喜ばないのでしょう。当たり前であることをお父さんがいる、お母さんがいる、手が2本あって足が2本ある、行きたいところへ自分で歩いていける、手を伸ばせば何でも取れる、音が聞こえて音が出る、こんな幸せなことがあるでしょうか。しかし誰もそれを喜ばない。当たり前だと笑って済ます。食事が食べられる。夜になるとちゃんと眠れ。そしてまた朝が来る。空気を胸いっぱいに吸える。笑える、泣ける、叫ぶこともできる。走り回れる。みんな当たり前のこと、こんな素晴らしいことをみんなは決して喜ばない。そのありがたさを知っているのは、それを失った人たちだけ。なぜでしょう。当たり前。こういう詩なんですけども、本当に、彼はもうなんていうんですかね、長くないと、もう若い自分に、死ぬということは、覚悟はしていたんですけども、そういう残りの生活を、有意義にまた幸せに、仏法を通して仏法のおかげで、生きること、過ごすことができたということなんです。そういうようなことを考えると、私たちも本当に仏法をいただくことができて、そうやって薬師如来ではありませんですけども、阿弥陀様、お釈迦様、そういう教えを、いただいて、できるだけ元気に、できるだけ幸せに、生きていけるように、頑張りたいと思います。もう考えてみますと、あと5日間で、クリスマスで、11日間で、年末になります。12日後には2021年を迎えることができます。お寺の方ではやはり皆さんに集まって、お勤めはできないんですけども、3月30あ2あ12月31日、大晦日の日に、6時より、除夜への、お勤めをいたします。でそれから次の日の、元日、に首相への法要を、朝10時より、ストリーミングで、行います。皆様も、ご一緒に、年末年始を です。こういうお勤めを通して、過ごしたいと思います。その後は1月3日には法要はありませんですけども、1月の10日に1月正月法要がございます。今日は本当に皆様がご一緒にお勤めをしていただきまして本当にありがとうございます。良いお年をお迎えください。ありがとうございます。
Okay, well, thank you very much, Rinban Ito, for your Japanese Dharma message. I think I should probably repeat the last part of what he said, not in Japanese, but I believe he said, Joya service on December 31st at 6 p.m. So please join us for that. And then New Year's Day service, Shusho-e, on January 1st at 10 o'clock. And then there's no service on the following Sunday, January 3rd. We're skipping that sort of a holiday weekend. So the Shotsuki service for 2021 will be January 10th. So just a reminder there. So thank you again, Bishop Ito, and to all of you, thank you very much for joining us today. And, a very sincere and hearty happy holidays to you all, and I hope to see you soon at our next service. So thank you very much for joining us again. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya.